The People's Action Movement officially launched its 2022 general elections campaign with the message from its leader Sean Richards that a PAM-CCM partnership in government is the only option for a successful federation. Speaking at the 6th July campaign launch in Central Bastia, Richards said the current PLP-led administration headed by Dr. Timothy Harris has left a feeling of hopelessness. Richards told the audience that it was under a PAM-led administration that major development projects were achieved that have relevance even today.
We've seen others trying to steal our ideas and plans, and we understand why. We understand that they see the merit and benefits of what we are offering. The policies of the Harris administration have left people feeling frustrated, powerless, hopeless, and unrepresented. But let's not forget where Harris came from. Harris is a direct product of labor. Let us not forget what happened when the other Labour Party was in power. The traits are similar. Let us not be fooled. Even with a new leader, Labour is still Labour. Old, new, red or orange, same old Labour. Yeah! My good people of this great federation, let history be your guide. Look back and see how St. Kitts and Nevis prospered under a PAM-led administration. Look back and understand that the Citizenship by Investment Program, Port Zante, the Southeast Peninsula, the schools meals program, the textbooks for your children, our relationship with Taiwan all began under a PAM administration. Judge us by our record. We have always been a movement of vision, a movement of nation building, and a movement that puts people first.
According to Richards, the electorate must vote for PAM and for CCM to ensure the country gets back on the right track. Len Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Just like St. Kitts, Nevis has its challenges with water supply due to the drought-like conditions affecting the region. In his monthly press conference recently, Premier Mark Brantley said the authorities are managing the water shortage problem facing the island.
So, we initiated a water management system, a water management program, on May 21st. And that had affected the areas from Maddens to Jessup in the northern section of the island. But we then started to even it out. So we extended the water rationing to the southern side of the island, Zion to Cherry Gardens via Beach Road. But we relaxed it, Mr. Cornelius, on June 20th on account of the rainfall that we had received. So the short answer is yes, we were having some difficulties based on the low rainfall and the severe drought that we have been experiencing, but we are very flexible. So the minute we get rains and the system is reinforced, if you will, we tend to relax the water restrictions, while encouraging our people still to be practical. So no watering of the lawns and washing of the cars, and try to avoid that. Just as I'm asking people to conserve electricity, I'm asking them to conserve water as well. So the short answer is yes, we've had some difficulties, but we are managing those difficulties.
Water authorities on both islands have been encouraging people to conserve water in order to preserve the limited supply due to the lack of adequate rainfall.
When you're looking to sell, buy, rent, or manage a property, your answer has to be Diamond Real Estate and Management St. Kitts, Dreams. They provide oversight of real estate and physical property in St. Kitts and Nevis, perform regular maintenance, utility payments, and safety checks to ensure your property is well kept. Dreams manages and optimizes your rental listing, recruits tenants, and much more. Looking to sell that parcel of land or property, or dreaming of owning your own? Trust Dreams under the leadership and experience of its CEO, Velma Merchant. Many can attest to her professionalism and customer service. Diamond Real Estate Management St. Kitts. Call 663-7326 or visit their office at 15 Shadwell Industrial Estate, making your real estate dreams come true.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports. all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today. Come get your fresh smoothie at Master Mix Smoothie in Bastyr at 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Get a fresh, all-natural, healthy and tasty smoothie with flavors of your choice. Master Mix Smoothie knows the flavors that you like and mixes it all up for you the way you want it. Master Mix Smoothie, 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Master Mix Smoothie, always the real thing, always smoothie.
Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
With the official opening of the PLP Vision Center for Constituency Number 6, candidate Dr. Mark Williams said he has a development plan for the constituency. Running against incumbent Dr. Denzel Douglas, a former Prime Minister, Dr. Williams told the gathering and listening audiences that a change will come with his election to represent the constituency and with the success of the PLP at the polls. In the plan, Dr. Williams indicated the development of a commercial center that will include banking facilities among other services.
This commercial center will offer more business opportunities for the young and the people living within our community. Where was that for the past 30 years? Where was that since 1965 when we voted for the SKNLP? They shut down the National Bank. You had to either go to town or you had to go to Sandy Point. On the PLP, we say no more. During the next 5 years, we will have a fisheries complex here in Cape Bay. You have invested a lot of money in your fishing boats, but you do not have a market to sell your fish here. You do not have a place to build your boats. That will happen on the PLP. The problem of transportation, the connection of the East and West Line bus routes. If someone from this side wants to go to Saddlers, you have to go to Passing Ground and walk to Saddlers. If you want to, someone from Saddlers want to come to the west side of the island, they have to walk from Saddlers to Passing Ground to catch a bus. Well, People's Labour Party say no more. Mark Williams said no more. There will be a bus terminal in the north of the island.
According to Williams, the construction of affordable residential houses also will be a priority after years of neglect of housing for constituency number 6. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris recently announced measures the government is taking to mitigate the global rise in cost of living. These measures were outlined in his most recent press conference at the NEMA headquarters.
The cost of fuel continues to be a challenge. What has the government done? The government reduced the excise tax on fuel from $2.25 to 95 cents. significant reduction. In other words, we gave up tax revenue in order to contain the cost of fuel. Additionally, we have continued and expanded our poverty alleviation program, SAFE, SELF, and other social safety net and welfare programs. Indeed, the Ministry of Social Development have reported that for the year so far, it has exhausted its budget of support and is seeking additional revenues.
A number of the relief measures were extended from previously announced stimulus packages. These include the waiver of payments for the consumption of water for individuals who have been laid off or have experienced a reduction in earnings as a consequence of COVID-19. Other measures include the waiver of payments for the consumption of water by farmers, the removal of VAT and import duty from selected hygiene items, the removal of import duty and customs service charge on selected items including vegetables, fruits, fruit juices, cough and cold preparations and vitamin supplements, among other things.
If you're looking for a place to host that special event, conference, meeting, social event, party, whatever the occasion, your best option is the Millhouse Convention Center in Palmetto Point, St. Kitts. Located on the picturesque Garvey's Estate, the Millhouse Guest House Convention Center has enough space for outdoor events overlooking the Caribbean Sea. If you're looking indoors, the center is equipped with amenities needed to make your event a success. And by combining both spaces, you're sure to have a memorable event, no matter the occasion. Call the offices at Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center to book your next event on simply the most beautiful place in St. Kitts. Call 668-1392. Millhouse Convention Center at Garvey's Estate, Palmetto Point, St. Kitts. Making your event memorable. It's the new and improved SK Newsline Android mobile app. With the SK Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the SK Newsline newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search SK Newsline, and download the app today. The SK Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
An open interactive event can be described as
tremendous, effective,
on par with any conference around the world.
From exhibitions to trade shows, corporate events to product launches, from press events to political functions. We are the secret sauce behind events that make you go, wow. We've staged multiple world-class events in the Caribbean and developed the skill to deliver quality in every detail, whether the event is live or fully virtual, or maybe even somewhere in between. At Open Interactive, we got your events covered. Get your free quotation today at www.madebyopen.com.
Naomi Jean-Louise has been living in this shelter for weeks. She was forced to leave her home when battles between rival gangs took over her neighborhood in Port-au-Prince.
I'm a disabled person and I'm the father and mother of children. The situation I'm living in isn't good at all. Even to go to the doctor's office, I have to go and ask in the street because of the insecurity.
Naomi is among thousands of people who have been displaced by the raging violence across much of Haiti. This is part of the ongoing chaos that has gripped the country ever since President Jovenel Moïse was killed last year. Despite dozens of arrests, including a group of Colombian mercenaries, Haiti's investigation has stalled. The acting Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, fired his justice minister and prosecutor last year when they called for him to be investigated in connection with Moïse's murder. Henry has denied any involvement in the killing.
Trying the assassination the president is a very difficult thing in any country. In any country, it's major. This is really bad. But in Haiti, with the situation that we have, this is a country really all of our institutions have not been functional, even under Jovenel. the justice system, everything, the police, everything is just not functional.
A parallel investigation in the U.S. has 3 suspects in custody, including a former U.S. government informant who pleaded not guilty on Wednesday and faces life in prison if convicted. The U.S. Department of Justice wants to seal evidence of past crimes by some of the suspects, many who are also informants. Even though Ariel Henry took over the office of Prime Minister and enjoys the support of Western powers, Haitian civil society groups question his authority and are pushing for a transition that will lead to elections that have been repeatedly delayed for 5 years. Haitians are facing an economic crisis that was only made worse by the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Half of the country is struggling with food insecurity, and rising inflation is making life harder for everyone. Like thousands of others in search of a better life someplace else, Antoine Guerrero was forced back to Haiti after being deported from the United States.
We are imprisoned in our own country because the insecurity makes every single person have a single goal, which is to leave this country. The reason why? It is uninhabitable. I feel like leaving this country again because the situation is very complicated.
So complicated that more Haitians than any time in recent memory are risking everything to escape, believing the situation in their home country will not improve anytime soon. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera.
Vote for us.
He led his party to a landslide election victory in 2019, but Boris Johnson was to be undone both by events in which he conspired and also by his own character flaws that critics say made him unfit for high office.
Boris Johnson has no social vision. There is no moral leadership. But for him, it was always about becoming Prime Minister, not about being Prime Minister. And I think he knows himself well enough that he knows that he does not have the skills that you need to be a successful Prime Minister.
Sonia Purnell was a reporter working alongside Johnson in the Brussels bureau of the Daily Telegraph. She describes a man with a lot of the child in him, who enjoyed getting into and out of scrapes, a man drawn to chaos.
And the chaos means that he can sort of emerge through all these things going wrong, all this noise, all this commotion as the person with the great idea or the witticism. And that is what appeals to him.
For Boris Johnson, the coronavirus pandemic was a perfect storm of crises and chaos that blew attention away from other problems. Despite his promise to get Brexit done, Britain remains mired in dispute with its biggest trading partner, the European Union. The economy is underperforming, the cost of living rising, health and education systems faltering. Success with the vaccine programme helped obscure Johnson's own indecision and delays in following scientific advice that contributed to one of the highest death tolls in the developed world. Former Chief Advisor Dominic Cummings described the Prime Minister's leadership as erratic, indecisive, distracted.
Nobody could find a way around the problem of the Prime Minister just like a shopping trolley smashing from one side of the aisle into the other.
The shopping trolley metaphor would quickly be seized upon by the opposition.
So he's doing what he always does, crashing over to the other side of the aisle.
Boris Johnson learned early to be self-sufficient in a family of competitive siblings, with a mother who suffered ill health and a father who was frequently absent. At the elite British boarding school Eton, he came to believe ordinary rules did not apply to him. In the infamous Bullingdon Drinking Club at Oxford, the outward persona of a jovial buffoon disguised an inner ambition for power. And as both a journalist for the Times newspaper and a minister in opposition, Johnson was accused of lying and fired. These, then, were the qualities he brought to politics, as Mayor of London, as Foreign Secretary, and then as Prime Minister. Entitlement, dishonesty, and indifference.
This is really the first time in his life where he's ever actually been held to account for anything. He's always been indulged, he's always been excused, there's always been reasons made for him for his bad behaviour.
There was wide support for his handling of the war in Ukraine, but Johnson never recovered from the scandal known as Partygate. He received a police fine for attending a lockdown party in Downing Street, making him the first British Prime Minister to break the law while in office. A civil service report into a string of similar gatherings described a failure of leadership. Eventually, 148 of his own MPs, 40% of the parliamentary party, turned against him in a vote of no confidence. Boris Johnson limped on for a bit, but the reasons to forgive him had run out. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera.
Let's cross to Paul Brennan. He's joining us from London. So you were at the announcement that was made by Boris Johnson. Paul, talk us through the statement and the dramatic moment.
Well, the downfall of a prime minister anywhere, I think, is always one of a momentous national occasion, and this was no different. The first indications that we were going to get a statement were when the technicians from Downing Street came out and started laying cable along the road behind me, and then from a couple of doors down from Downing Street, number 10 Downing Street, Carrie Johnson and a group of Downing Street staffers came out and stood along the top end of the street. And then to my left, from another direction, from the Cabinet Office to my left, a group of Boris Johnson's most loyal MPs came out and stood here. At the gates of Downing Street, at the far end of the street, there was a large group of the general public, along with demonstrators sending out music through loudspeakers, and it really built up for a really climactic situation. Finally, the lectern came out into the middle of the street, and very quickly after that, Boris Johnson emerged. He didn't hang around. There was a round of applause from his supporters for him, but he didn't stop to acknowledge that. He went straight into the speech that he had prepared for him and delivered it. A short, sharp speech. The reaction among the commentariat that I've been looking at on social media in the wake of that speech are that it was, devoid of any self-reflection, frankly. There's a lot more he could have said about his own personal shortcomings that have brought us to this stage. He talked about the decision of the Conservative MPs to oust him as eccentric, which rather suggests that he thinks they've lost their minds. That said, there are many people who will not be mourning the loss of Boris Johnson, and not least of them is Keir Starmer, who is the Labour opposition leader. Let's hear him.
He needs to go. He can't cling on in this way. His own party have finally concluded that he's unfit to be Prime Minister. They can't now inflict him on the country for the next few months. It's obvious he's unfit to be Prime Minister. That's been blindingly obvious for a very, very long time. And if they don't get rid of him, then Labour will step up in the national interest and bring a vote of no confidence, because we can't go on with this Prime Minister clinging on for months and months to come.
Paul, he is staying on for a little bit longer, though. What do we know is going to happen in terms of a timetable and how quickly he might be replaced?
Yeah, I mean, that interview with Keir Starmer was recorded before Boris Johnson's actual speech was given here. So the last part overtaken by events, I think. But the actual timetable now for the departure of Boris Johnson is still up in the air somewhat. I mean, the Prime Minister of Britain is not elected by a general election. The party takes power through a general election, and then the Prime Minister is elected by the members of Parliament of the biggest party from that general election. So it's down to the Conservative Party in Parliament to make the process work. Now, the 1922 committee is the backbench committee which organises votes of no confidence, for example, and it will be for them to set the timetable. And what we're looking at most likely is for the candidates to present themselves, and the expectation is that we could whittle it down to two leading candidates by the summer recess, which is July the 21st. They could then spend the summer campaigning amongst the Conservative membership, that's around 100,000 members, with a view to holding an election in the autumn time, in time for the annual Conservative Party conference, which is later in the autumn. But there are a lot of misgivings about Boris Johnson staying on in Downing Street while that process is undertaken. Dominic Cummings, his former closest advisor, now his nemesis since leaving Downing Street, says that to leave Boris Johnson here in Downing Street could risk carnage. And there are plenty of other MPs who say, look, Boris Johnson was the problem, and to have him sitting here overseeing even a kind of caretaker administration, frankly, is not acceptable to them. So there are a lot of questions that are unanswered still about whether Boris Johnson can or will be forced to step aside so that somebody else can oversee the transition period through to the autumn.
Okay, thank you so much, Paul Brennan, reporting from London.
There were victories this weekend in the SKNFA Premier League for Escrave Newtown United, Sol Allen Auto Supplies Connery FC, Fast Gas Saddlers United, and Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs. On Saturday, Fast Gas Saddlers defeated Old Road Jets 4-1. Goal scorers Daquan Watley in the 32nd minute, Evans Roy Barnes scoring twice in the 44th and 64th minutes, and Alfonso Murray in the 85th minute. For Old Road, the lone goal once again came from Jardel Isaac in the 77th minute. Then in the second match on Saturday's doubleheader, Connery FC came from behind to defeat St. Peter's 2-1. Kadeem Lewis scored from the penalty spot in the 60th minute, and Nickwan Phipps the second goal in the 83rd minute. Aidan Nurse got St. Peter's on the board in the 32nd minute. After the match, coach of Connery, Alexis Richards, expressed satisfaction with the fight shown by his team.
For sure, the first time I said good to my team, Connery. I think when the second half 1-0 down, we made the adjustments, you know what I mean, to actually come back and get the game won. You know what I mean? I think the guys, I must say, well done to the guys, you know what I mean? I think the guys stuck to the plan. We get a penalty, we get the winning goal, and I must say well done to the guys.
On Sunday, Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs defeated Hot Springs Bath United 3-1. Ben Reese Richards scored the lone goal for Bath in the 34th minute, but not before Kai Cabey scored the first goal of the match in the 3rd minute. DeAndre Challenger scored 2 goals for Spurs to ensure they took home the 3 points in the 67th and 72nd minute, respectively. Then in Sunday's main match, Escrave Newtown United crushed TGE Diebe Eagles 4-1. Shamar Powell scored for Newtown in the 17th minute. Kennedy Rodriguez scoring a hat-trick in the 30th, 43rd and 89th minutes. He is the youngest player to score a hat-trick in the Premier League this season. The lone goal from Diebe came from DeAndre Henderson in the 56th minute. It was a widely anticipated matchup, and it didn't disappoint. Rams Village Superstars taking on Flow 4GK Rockets on Wednesday in the SKNFA Premier League at the Warner Park. The match ended in a 2-2 stalemate. Keon took the lead in the 19th minute through a brilliant free kick from Mervyn Lewis, followed up by an almost impossible shot from Jan Duncan in the 43rd. But Village came out in the second half like a team possessed, with Kimari Rogers delivering 2 crisply finished goals to rescue a point for the West Bastia outfit. In the night's other match, Anthony Keynes of SL Horses St. Paul's United scored a rare hat-trick to help the defending champions deliver a 6-1 drubbing of Trafalgar South Stars. Shamar Hanley of South Stars scored the first goal of the match in the 6th minute, but Anthony Keynes went on a rampage, scoring the equalizer in the 14th minute, then again in the 27th minute and in the 31st minute, one of those goals coming from the penalty spot. Kishorn Ward scored the 4th goal in the 36th minute, Malik Clark in the 83rd minute, and Tariq Thomas scoring the 6th and final goal for St. Paul's in the 88th minute. The SKNFA Premier League continues this Friday at the Warner Park.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnews9.com.